I'm excited to announce my all-new mattress topper. In the times we're in, I wanted to bring you the best affordable mattress topper ever. So I took my two best technologies and combined them to make the ultimate mattress topper. And now you can get it for as low as $69.98. Queen size, only $99.98. It all starts with my famous MyPillow foam that provides you that overall full body support. Second is the individual comfort supports that give you an amazing custom sleep experience. It's like it's made specifically for you. The queen size alone has over 14,000 comfort supports. This is the perfect mattress topper to improve any bed. New bed, old bed, your guest beds. Get them for every bedroom in your house. Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the all-new My Mattress Topper for as low as $69.98. Queen size, only $99.98. Don't delay, order today.
This is Chris Ruddy, and I love Gene Valentino's Grassroots Truth Cast. Make sure you're tuning in just like I do every day, every week, every minute.
Good morning, 7:16, 60 minutes after 7 o'clock. One of the better parts of Friday is Gene Valentino joining us.
Hey, good morning, Gene.
Well, it's only better because that Tibbet's on standby helping us both out, Michael.
Yeah, we of course, what would we do without Ted? It'd be a very boring show.
Well, y'all might find somebody. It wouldn't be a Democrat, though.
No, we know that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a former Democrat like you.
Yeah, all of us were old enough voted Democrat at one time.
No, it's true because honestly, I look, and Gene, you probably can say the same thing. You know, back when we were younger, and I mean, like, I'm talking about 25 or 30 years ago, there were still Democrats you could vote for and feel good about it. But it's just not that.
That's correct. We talked about the Dixie Democrats. Those guys were more conservative than some Republicans want to be. I mean, they were great conservative folks. And there's been a transformation in this country where the Democrats, the conservative Democrats left. My dad did as well, and he was up in New England at the time. He left his Democrat Party and became a Republican back during the Reagan administration. And since then, you have a genesis going on where it left a void in the Democrat Party of people who find themselves needing to survive only if you become more extreme. Ergo, the Squad and some of the Schumer's.
The Squad. Two of them got beat.
Well, the door swings back, doesn't it? Okay, you're talking about Cori Bush. You're talking about, oh my word, Bowman, Jamal Bowman.
Yeah.
And others. They're losing elections. What I find also interesting is Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia, to his credit, is getting behind Donald Trump right now. He's saying, yeah, Trump and I have had our words. We've had our differences. But our democracy is too important and too big to get into personality conflicts. And remember, we've used the term also, principles before personalities, a perfect example. Governor Kemp steps up, gets behind Trump. Okay, you and I have had our differences. Let's get over it. Let's get on and protect this nation. He has really surprised me. But remember, it was Trump who stepped up originally to protect Kemp. And Kemp backed off on his support going back to 2020, which is why Trump had some terse words about him in the first place. A lot of people, including Governor Kemp, stabbed Trump in the back. And, you know, the old barstool phenomenon, if you're going to punch me in the face, don't get mad at me when I show you how I react.
That's right. Well, you know, Kemp and Trump, obviously, those two are, but let me just say this. Democrats, they never let that show in public. They always do it in private. That's one thing I love about Democrats. They stick together. Republicans do not.
Yeah, and what's the perfect example of that, Michael? Right now, How about Kamala Harris going on how many days? And we don't even know where she stands on certain policy issues, only recently agreed to one debate. There's 3 debates a presidential candidate normally has before any given election. But here's the screw up. How are you going to have debates when the early voting kicks in, and you're going to tell me that certain voters had the privilege of hearing all 3 debates and other voters didn't? When Trump gets in, we're talking about eliminating this nonsense about early voting. 1 ballot, a paper ballot, 1 day, tabulate the vote, and that's it. No early voting except for our veterans and our foreign service workers who need to get the ballot early so it can be tabulated and back in time for the November tally. But aside from that, we've got to get away from all this nonsense about early voting. The Democrats are praying right now that they can keep Kamala in a box the way they kept Joe in the basement as long as possible. It was a winning strategy. Hey, can I run for a second? I got something I want to share with you.
Yeah. No.
Okay, in 1954, I was 1 year old. When I was 1 year old in 1954, a judge by the name of Keith Alber from California wrote this piece. It's an opinion from Judge Alber in 1954. Now, mind you, he was 85 years of age at the time. He was a legal scholar and had a real long background in the law. 1954, at 85 years of age, he writes, I am a student of law whose age is 85. My first year of college was 68 years ago. One class I took was political science. A half page of my textbook essentially outlined a few steps to overturn a democracy. Here's a judge articulating how to overturn a democracy. Number 1, divide the nation philosophically. Tell me if any of this rings. Number 2, foment racial strife. 3, cause distrust of police authority. 4, swarm the nation's borders indiscriminately and unconstitutionally. 5, engender the military strength to weaken it. 6, overburden citizens with more unfair taxation. 7, encourage civil rioting and discourage accountability for all crimes. 8, control all balloting. We just talked about that. And 9, control all media. That was written in 1954. Can you relate to any of that today?
Yeah, this guy's a prophet. This is exactly what's happening. I don't know how he figured this out back then because things were a lot different back then.
Yeah, they were.
But I sort of, wrote down some key words while you were talking about that. You divide the nation. I mean, that's where we are. You divide the nation. You create racial strife. We have that. It's interesting because in our day-to-day lives, as we interact with each other as citizens and neighbors, we don't have racial strife. But when we go to the national level, that's all we hear about, our country is how racially divided we are. When we're really not. It's something that they push on us from the national news media. Distrusting the police. Now, that's something that has come on hard in the last 8 years or so. We've seen a lot of that going on. So
yeah, look at the Minneapolis riots and the pillage and plunder just 2 years ago in Minneapolis. We're seeing him talk about it right now.
Well, and the border is a big thing, and obviously that's a part of it. Balloting.
This is funny, Michael. The real issue is what you said earlier to the listeners. I couldn't emphasize enough. Every person not only has to get out and vote, but they need to drag 10 to 15 people with them. you need to grab, folks, if you're hearing this or watching this, you really do need to bring every conservative voter off the couch and take some of those Democrats who are thinking of staying home because they're so mad at their own party. Take some of those Democrats who turned independent who think they're going to stay home because they're so angry. Oh no, that's not. Our constitutional republic is based on a democracy of we the people. And if you believe in we the people, then you must do your part. You must get out and vote. Just think of what's going on over in Venezuela now, Michael, with President Maduro trying to skew and gerrymander the vote. One of the 9 points we just mentioned was controlling the voting. That's what Maduro is doing over there with voting machines he's gerrymandering and doing around the world. We need to make sure it's what Trump said, it's too big to rig. We've got to be the tsunami at the voting booth to make sure that if you're going to screw with us, we still override it with such a tidal wave that it's too big to rig. And then once we're in office with a House of Representatives that's Republican, with a United States Senate that's Republican, and the president that's Republican, we can, in an express lane, do in 2 weeks what they failed to do in 20 years. And Trump was on a path to doing that. That's why everyone's so upset and trying to keep him out of this race in the first place. Why, how many weeks have gone? Tomorrow is Saturday. It was 4 weeks ago tomorrow that President Donald J. Trump was shot. And we don't have a Secret Service reporting the details of this yet. You're not going to tell me this is not a broad-based deep state conspiracy that needs to be taken down. It's not about Donald Trump. It's about all these tentacles of government that must be unhinged. We need to fire them all and bring back a whole new generation of worker bees in a more streamlined form of government, not chair sitters that are taking a check and doing nothing.
Well, I can't agree with you more. It's so scary out there when you look at what's going on. Obviously, they don't want him back. They don't want him back mainly because he is going to really accelerate what needs to be done that he knew back then needed to be done, but he was a little more careful about it. If he comes back, it's going to be big problems for the deep state. And the deep state is certainly something that we all need to worry about. And I used to think, honestly, I mean, I have so changed my views since Donald Trump has been in the White House and has been on the public stage. I used to trust the government that they were going to do the right thing, that there were good people in there that were going to do the right thing all the time. Maybe every once in a while somebody would make a bad decision, but in the end, the government was going to do the right thing for us, the people that they served, right?
Well, you said
I don't believe.
Yeah, real quick, I know. I'm just telling you, Michael, they were chiding the Republicans recently when Nancy Pelosi was suggesting that Joe Biden be the fifth bust on the Mount Rushmore in the future. It's not It's not Biden. It's Donald Trump who should be the fifth head on Mount Rushmore. And I'm going to do what I can to see that happen because it's the hammer time.
The velvet hammer.
The velvet hammer's coming at you, baby. And with what resources I have in my life, I'm going to push states, U.S. senators and congressmen to get on board with Donald Trump as the fifth head on Mount Rushmore. Your velvet hammer has spoken.
Yeah, and that is something. You're right. I mean, Joe Biden, what a worthless bag of rotten oatmeal. I mean,
but why do they think they can talk him up as the fifth head on Mount Rushmore? It's because the deep state is trying to pollute your thinking to such a perverse degree that they're getting away with it. It's this mass formation psychosis that we've talked about. If I beat you up and bang on you long enough, you're bound to give in with this thinking. And and this perverse thinking becomes normalized. It's far from normal. We need to turn the ship around. It's not about Donald Trump. It's about our constitutional republic. It's about a democracy. It's about protecting your right to speak, my right to speak, my right to carry a gun, your right to carry a gun, and for us to truly be able to choose the person we want to represent us in this beautiful nation that has survived almost 250 years. Let's see if we make it.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Gene?
Hi, friends. Gene Valentino from the Grassroots Truthcast. You've got to join us not only for the great shows and entertainment and guests, but you got to join us because our sponsorship is growing. And it would mean a lot to them, not to mention me, if you come on board. And the one we're featuring this week is Luis Sanchez from the Cigar Shop. He owns a company called La Tradicion Cubana. The Cigar Shop, Miami, Florida, since 1995. This Luis is really one heck of a guy. He's determined to manufacture cigars based on an unprecedented excellence in quality using old-fashioned Cuban methods. The cigar isn't always cheaper, but it is better. And if, like you're drinking a fine wine, you got to have a fine cigar, look for Luis Sanchez at the Cigar Shop. He helped me find a nice Connecticut wrapper with a Nicaraguan blend. And this cigar has become not only my enjoyment, but this cigar has also become my brand and my marketing tool. If you notice up close, we've got a little label he's put on there for me. And that's my website, genevalentino.com. It's at the Grassroots Truthcast. Now, here's the deal. You go to thecubanshop.com, find the cigar you want, and Luis will throw in the labels for free. But you got to tell him Gene sent you. Tell Luis Gene sent you. The labels are free. These are $50 to $100 values based on the count. And you can get this to become part of your branding experiment. I'm using this with my guests on the Grassroots Truthcasts. This could be your brand on your product, your service, anywhere in the world. Look for Luis Sanchez at thecubanshop.com. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your smoke.
Hey folks, Carla Sands here, putting in a plug for Gene Valentino's Grassroots Truthcast.